Today here on Rumblestrip.NET and 10-minute test drive, we're in Raleigh, North Carolina. Lexus has brought us down here to check out their all-new 4th generation RX. So as we said, we're down here in North Carolina. It's early November, and we're checking out the 4th generation of Lexus RX. This is the vehicle that pretty much created the mid-size crossover luxury segment. Lexus says they have sold in excess of 2.1 million RXs since its inception in 1998. And it's true, this thing used to be pretty ubiquitous. It was so much so that Audi, was it 5 or 6 years ago, I think, created a whole commercial of walking out into a parking lot and all you saw were RXs. And like for the Q5, I think is what it was, what the commercial was for, so you could actually stand out versus being one of everyone else. And we've driven a couple of the other generations RXs, and they were not our favorite vehicles. Blandtastic would be an appropriate term for those vehicles. They were, I suppose if that's what you were looking for, they were great, but they were just stainless steel appliances, for lack of a better term. I mean, they were okay. They got the job done. They were obviously very successful, but they lacked any kind of emotion. So now in this 4th generation, this is the really first generation of this vehicle that, Akio Toyota has any oversight on. And it shows. It's a very different vehicle without getting too far away from what made the RX popular in the first place. Number one, the first thing you're going to see is the styling. And it's going to create some controversy with the RX enthusiasts, or loyalists, I guess would be a better term for them. It makes a statement. And whether or not you like the statement, or whether or not you like the direction that Lexus is going with their styling, the one thing you have to say is at least they're trying something to stand out. And this continues that theme. For the most part, we like it. There's a few things that we may need time for it to grow on us, but we'll get to that in a few minutes. This is just a first ride and drive. We've had the opportunity to get in a number of different versions of this. We're currently driving a normal, the standard version of the 450h, the hybrid version. That is a 259 horsepower Atkinson cycle V6 with the hybrid motor, so a total of 306 available horsepower. Not bad. It's reasonably quiet. Well, more than reasonably quiet. It's fairly quiet, although one of the models we had, there seemed to be a bit of road noise, but these are all pre-production models, so there might be they didn't do the undercoating the right way or something, so you never know sometimes with pre-production vehicles. So we've driven the regular 450h, we've driven a 450h F-Sport, which F-Sport is available for the first time on the hybrid version. Different suspension, different suspension combination, some bodywork differences. So yeah, I mean, and that was nice. We've driven the regular 350 and then the F-Sport 350. And in general, they are much better, much superior in pretty much every way to the old RX. And we say that in a couple of ways. One of the things that this really conveys is it feels like you're more involved. And that starts with the cockpit and the driving position. You feel like you're in something, that you're cocooned in a little bit, but in a good way, that it feels like you're in a little safety cell here as you're driving. And I like that. It just provides a very good feel. a very comfortable feel, very confidence-inspiring feel as you're driving. The seat is actually a little bit lower, and hence the steering wheel angle is a little bit lower, so you really do get a much better driving position. Again, you don't feel like you're up on and looking down. You feel like you're more in it and involved in the driving. It's just a better, it's a much better layout. The regular V6 version of this is works with Toyota's multi-variable valve timing, which allows it to run on the regular auto cycle most of the time, but in certain situations, to maximize fuel economy, with the valve timing, it changes it up to run as an Atkinson cycle, which is, you know, very good, and it helps with the fuel economy. Fuel economy on this is going to be pretty solid. The hybrid version is going to be pretty much, you know, 30 miles to the gallon, pretty close, city, highway, and combined. The gas car, sorry, I don't have the gas car figures handy, and I was just looking on our notes, and I forgot to grab that. We'll annotate that for you here if we can. The regular 3.5 liter V6, good power. In fact, it's actually up quite a bit in this version. We are up to 200 and I believe it's 95 horsepower, 275 or 295. Sorry, I can't look at my notes here as I'm driving. And it's very smooth. It's not quick, but if you're rolling at, say, 15 or 20 miles an hour and you put your foot into it trying to, let's say, get on an on-ramp onto the highway or merge with traffic, you're very quickly at 50 and 60 miles an hour. So it's not something that puts you back in your seat, but it's something that gets up to speed very quickly. Overall fit and finish with this RX is exactly what you'd expect in a Lexus. It's very well done. The materials are good. There's nice stitching in here. The cabin is relatively quiet. Again, when I say relatively quiet, I mean it's very quiet. It's exactly what you'd expect. It's not tomb-like, but it's quite good. There are a couple different displays that are available on this as for your infotainment system. In the model that we're driving right now, it's got the 8-inch screen, and it's okay. I mean, it's a little far away, so it looks a little smaller than it actually is, but it does a fairly good job. Now, there's an optional one, which is 12.3 inches, and it's huge, or as our friends on the East Coast would say, it's huge. And when you get it with the navigation, there is a way where the entire screen can be taken up by the map of the navigation system, and we'll roll in a picture here for you of that, and it's pretty impressive when you see it done like that. One of the things Lexus is trying to do with this vehicle is appeal to a little bit younger audience and also appeal to a more male audience. This is typically been attracted to more female buyers. Lexus understands that, and so with this more bold styling, they're trying to get a younger audience and attract, as we said, a few more male clientele to it. And we think the styling is much better now. Some people will think it's too butch, and we can totally get that. But I am a man, right? Where the old RX, I wouldn't be interested in, just from a styling standpoint. At least this is interesting enough that I could think about driving this. The driving experience, look, it's a Lexus. It's not a sports car. It's a luxury car. And even an F-Sport trim that firms things up, from our standpoint, you get the F-Sport. It's nicer, a little bit nicer trim. You get some additional interior colors. We like the red interior that's available on the F-Sport that you can't get in other colors. There is just a few other changes, and especially the styling. I really enjoy the styling of the F-Sport. It just cleans up a few little bits and pieces for us, pretty much on all Lexuses with the spindle grille, especially on the front end. One of the other things that's going to cause some controversy with the styling is the floating roof, or floating roof design, and it's because there's a piece that goes across and breaks up the C-pillar on this vehicle. Again, does it blow us away? No. Is it interesting? Maybe. Is it an idea? Yes. Unfortunately, Nissan did that with the Murano already before this came out. So you're kind of like, well, you weren't first to market with it. So, you know, over time it might grow on us. Our initial response is like, again, at least you're trying, right? So as we wrap up this first drive here, we have to say this is going to be a really well done job by Lexus. It takes it from just some bland mom mobile, you know, as we said, stainless steel appliance, to something that's interesting at least. Again, if you're looking for performance, this is not it. If you want something that's luxury, okay, now we can talk. How does it compare to, say, you know, against BMW and Mercedes? And I'll say more Mercedes because that's typically the luxury end of it. It's going to be very solid. And then, of course, you have Lexus Toyota quality, which is always going to be, you know, you can breathe a little easier in that versus the being something German, just because sometimes you never know what you're going to get, especially when it comes to German electronics. Certainly much better than it used to be, but there's still that stigma. And, you know, Lexus's reputation for service is outstanding. From our standpoint, they're not going to lose too many people who are RX loyalists with this vehicle. The styling will turn some off, and some just won't be interested and they'll look elsewhere, and that's fine. But I think the styling will bring enough new people in to more than make up for it. And, you know, that's good as they continue to try and grow and bring new people in. It's a really good vehicle. It's something I think we could recommend to a certain group of people, which we can't always say. And, you know, hey, really good. And we'll be excited to drive this thing after the first of the year when it comes into the press fleet and spend more than just, you know, 15 or 20 minutes at a time with it. Pretty encouraged by this, and we'll see how it stands up, as we said, when we get it back and can spend more time in the seat.